Financial.
Thank you, DG, and good morning to the Portfolio Committee, Deputy Minister. Chairperson, I'll be presenting the Q1 financial report for the department, including the water trading entity. Slide number 34, Chairperson, reflects the total appropriation of the department for the 23-24 financial year, which is 22 billion, of which we have now spent 3 billion. We plan, Chairperson, in terms of our approved drawings, to have spent 3.6 billion. We are behind the drawings with 526 million, and I will explain those in the subsequent slides. So what makes up the variances, starting first with compensation of employees? There, Chairperson, due to the wage agreement that has been reached by government and labor, we had overspent by 9 million. It's just a difference between what we have planned to spend and the actual spending due to the financial implications out of the implementation of the 23-24 wage settlement. I must confirm, Chairperson, that there are engagements with National Treasury, and all these deviations will be corrected with the adjustment budget that will be put through around September. And on goods and services, we also have overspending for the quarter of 13.9 million. That is due to the invoices that we paid in April. They related to the period ending 31st March. However, due to systems errors, which we also reported when reporting on the fourth quarter, we could not process those, and those invoices are currently included in our rollover applications to a National Treasury. And again, on transfers and subsidies, we plan to present rollover applications to a National Treasury. 625 million. However, during this quarter, we had to reprioritize our budget relating to transfers to water boards. That is due to interventions that the department was embarking on, including the Hammanskraal intervention, Machawing, and we also had to make provision, revised allocations for the Valhamahara project, as well as the Velvet Duct project. So we have submitted to National Treasury a request for this environment, and the National Treasury is processing our application. And on the payments for capital assets, there was an indication during the performance information presentation that we have a number of projects that are lagging behind. We are behind with 184 million, and those reasons I'll also talk to in the subsequent slides. On slide number 36, the slide represents the budget and expenditure on the water trading entity. The total budget for the water trading entity is 18 billion, with a significant amount of 9.3 related to TCTA for the repayment of loans that TCTA is responsible for. The total water trading account. On slide number 37, this slide provides the total allocation the department has made for the regional bulk infrastructure grant, as well as the water services infrastructure grant 5B. Those are the conditional grants to the municipalities. I'm only presenting the budget, since the expenditure or the transfers will only be taking place in the second quarter. Those have been scheduled for the 27th of July and the 4th of August, respectively. So the total allocation for these two grants under conditional grants to municipalities is 7.3 billion, and there is the breakdown per province. And on slide number 38, the 6B allocation that we have under RPIC, we have, as at the end of June, spent 364 million of the planned spending. Chairperson, we had some of the implementing agents having challenges with the appointments of the contractors. For example, Rainwater concluded most of the appointments during this quarter, and we expect that the expenditure should be improving in the second quarter. That relates to the Gauteng province. Similarly, on Limpopo, we are engaging with Lepelle Northern Water. We had some challenges there with the procurement, but there are recovery measures that the department has put in place to ensure that these projects do come back on track in the second quarter. And on slide number 39, that is the Water Services Infrastructure Grant 6B allocation. There we managed to spend 186 million. We are actually above the planned drawings here, Chairperson. That's because of the work that we are doing mainly in Guyana as well. Also in Mpumalanga, our projects are moving faster, and we have also had expenditure under KwaZulu-Natal. As I've indicated, those expenditures relates to invoices that were supposed to be processed in the previous financial year, similarly with the Eastern Cape. So those invoices were only paid in this current financial year, and we are expecting that National Treasury will granting us approval in the second quarter for us to cover these shortfalls. And then on slide number 40, I mentioned earlier on that we do have reprioritizations that we have applied to National Treasury for transfers to water boards, our public corporations. And this slide just provides that shift of funds in between. So once National Treasury has approved, we should be able to provide progress in the second quarter. And then on slide number 41, this slide, Chairperson, provides the infrastructure commitments just to indicate that we have actually committed most of our budget. And as we accelerate the work on the ground, there will be some reductions on these capital commitments. In total, we closed the financial year at 9.4 billion, and now we are at 10 billion at the end of June. So we should be able to spend our budget based on these capital commitments that we are having. And on slide number 42, the measures to prevent underspending, as indicated, there are various interventions that the department is implementing. One of them is the Umkhanyakude District Municipality intervention, where we have undertaken infrastructure development. We have revised the budget there. We have reallocated a total amount of 338 million in the current financial year based on the approved business plans. This intervention started in the previous financial year. We also engaged with Val Central Water, that is the former Bloom Water, on the Balfontein and Virginia project. We have applied to National Treasury to reprioritize a portion of the transfers to ensure that we make money available for these projects. Hammanskraal intervention project as well, the department is intervening there through Mahalis Water. We have issued out the directive to Mahalis Water, and then we have reprioritized the budget, of which we are waiting for National Treasury's approval. So once National Treasury has approved the transfer, the prioritization, we'll be able to transfer these funds to Mahalis Water, but they have begun now with some of the advanced works. The second part of the presentation, Chairperson, relates to the overview of the financial recovery plan. On slide number 44, we have been requested by the committee to continuously report on progress we are making on the financial recovery. It covers our budget management to make sure that we do not incur any deficits, the bank overdrafts that we had previously, that we do not have those, and we have achieved those. There are also measures for expenditure and financial governance and accountability controls. Also, alignment of our annual performance plans and budgets. That is part of the work that we are doing, that there is that alignment. I will be covering an overview of the proper expenditure of where we are, Chairperson, with the clearing of these historic balances, the work that the department is doing. Unauthorized expenditure, we have previously reported that it is currently with Parliament. National Treasury is following up, and we did bring this to the attention of SCOPA when the department was invited at SCOPA, so we are still waiting for the approval. On fruitless and wasteful expenditure, Chairperson, there is a significant increase on the main account that relates to the investigations that the department has conducted on the Val River Intervention Project. There are some costs which we had to classify as fruitless and wasteful, and the department is taking the measures that are in the investigation report to put those remedial actions in place. And on irregular expenditure, on the main account, we are at 8.9 billion and the water trading entity 6.7 billion. The subsequent slide will provide an overview of where we are with this irregular expenditure. On slide number 46, on the main account, we have already allocated an amount of 2.5 that is under assessment, where we are collating information from the implementing agents and assessing the nature of those irregular expenditures. Our internal audit through the forensic unit is also busy with a total amount of 2 billion that has been assigned to them. The 8.4 billion, Chairperson, those are the cases such as Giyani that we have previously reported that are still with the law enforcement agencies. And I will also talk to those in the subsequent slides. All these are historic balances, and I will reflect the progress that we have made in terms of eliminating the incurrence of these expenditures in the subsequent slide. Slide number 47, Giyani Water Service Project, as I've indicated, that matter is still with the SIU as well as the court process is underway there. Similarly with the Hooded Throw scheme. And the Horn Lakes project, we are currently engaging with EWCITA. There are still issues that they are resolving between themselves with the service provider. They had to go through a mediation hearing. And once we have concluded that process, the department will be performing an assessment of performance of this program. However, I must also confirm that we have exceeded the program at phase 2. So these are historic balances that we are dealing with here. Then on slide number 48, the bucket eradication program as well, we're still busy with the closeout report in relation to the historic balances that were reported as irregular. And on financial advisory services, the matter has now been set down for hearing on the 5th of February. So we are making progress there. So it should be in court in the coming year. And we hope that we should be able to bring this to finality. The other cases that are reflected there are still with our labor relations, and we are also implementing consequence management in line with the recommendations of the investigations. And then on slide number 49, I've already indicated that we have engaged National Treasury on the unauthorized expenditure. So the total amount that we are waiting feedback from Treasury is 755. And as indicated, these are all the historic balances. Slide number 50 and 51, Chairperson, is just a summary of the analysis of transgressions that we have identified out of these reported cases. And then on slide number 52 is our register of the condonations that we have managed to process year to date. It's a total of 2.4 billion. And we are hopeful that in this current financial year, the amount will be increasing as we conclude on most of our investigations, noting that the target date that the SCOPA is given to the department, or the due date deadline, is the 31st of March 2024, that we should be done with all these historic cases of improper expenditure. And then on the next slide, slide number 53, Chairperson, we are moving in the right direction, as we have indicated. We do have some of the cases that we are still assessing, as I've indicated. If confirmed to be irregular, they will be reported in line with the instruction note. But currently, we can confirm that in the 22-23 financial year, we didn't have material irregular expenditures. The ones that we have reported are coming from the previous financial years. And for Q1 of this financial year as well, we haven't confirmed any incidents. Those that are still being assessed, once they are confirmed, we will report in terms of the instruction note from Treasury. Similarly, on slide number 54, on fruitless and wasteful expenditure, all the balances, the amount that are showing on the graph, they are historic amounts that the department is currently busy finalizing the write-offs as well as the condonations in line with the instruction note. And then the trend, as we can see, it's reducing in the 22-23 financial year. We had 59,000, for example, on the main account, and that also relates to cases that were coming from the previous financial year. And now in Q1, we haven't reported any incident, and we are working hard to make sure that we do not have this by implementing strong preventative controls to make sure that we don't have these incidents. So whatever is confirmed will be accounted for, but we are certain that our controls that we have and measures that we have put in place will lead to zero reporting. And the next slide, slide 55, is just an extract of the irregular expenditure instruction note that we are required in terms of the instruction note from National Treasury to comply with all these requirements before we can take any measures to remove or to condone the reported irregular expenditure. Chairperson, the last slide, on slide number 56, we did also mention that we have challenges with revenue collection. This slide provides some measures that we are putting in place as a department for the sector as a whole, that we are working with the water boards as well as municipalities to try and strengthen the billing and revenue collections. We're also working with the National Treasury as well as implementation of our revenue enhancement strategy. We've been signing a lot of agreements with municipalities where they agree to honor their current accounts, and the department where the municipalities are compliant will waive the interest, right of the interest. We are also having 14 debt collectors from National Treasury's transversal contract who are helping us with the recovery of outstanding debtors. This relates more from to the companies and individuals. We are still pursuing IGR when it comes to our municipalities. Our minister as well has been working with the various mayors, consulting them. So there are all these engagements, including the intergovernmental relations forums, where we work with COCTA as well as SALGA and National Treasury to make sure that we collect as much as we can. Thank you very much, Chairperson. VG, that is the last slide. The other slide is just additional information.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Mr. Mashab. Okay, he's not here. Members, can I see your hands up for participation? Who is Stephen Moore?
Chairperson, it's Leon speaking.
Who's that?
Chairperson Stephen Moore is a third member of the DA on the committee. Thank you.
But you will have introduced him in the meeting, so we don't know him.
You didn't give me the opportunity, Chair.
No, I did. I said people give apologies and everything else. Okay. It is him, Stephen Moore, Mary Peterson, and Honorable Seke. Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair.
Welcome to the meeting. Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Much appreciated, and sorry for the confusion. Good to be here. and just exciting to see what appears to be some very positive movement across the general trend year to year, particularly those pages 53 and 54 as we're eliminating significant movement, eliminating irregular expenditure and fruitless and wasteful expenditure. I just wanted to highlight two items as an example of issues in the report, and then ask a question on the Umgeni Water budget. But first, pages 24. There's just DG just with thank you for the report, but just to say that there's a couple of obvious copy-paste mistakes that are creeping into the report. Obviously at this level, that's not to be expected. On page 24, I'm just going to give two examples, but there are a few. On page 24, item 5.1.6, we talk about it being under by 15%, but actually it's under by 24%. Clearly someone's copy-pasted from a different line on the same slide. Same thing, page 30, item 3.9.3.2, we say it's under by 8, but if you just look at the numbers, it's actually 9, including 2 from a previous financial year, or else it is 8, and that means including 3 from a previous financial year. So that particular one actually creates confusion with regards to what is being reported in the report. And then my actual question, Chair, is on regards to page 40 and 42, just for clarity, because obviously I'm new in the portfolio, so just trying to understand. On page 40, we report about how we have reprioritized a significant amount of money away from Umgeni Water, over 500 million rand. But then on page 42, we talk about reprioritization measures to prevent underspending, where we are allocating 338 million to the Umgeni Utukela Water, which is, my understanding is the same thing these days. I think they changed the name of the board, if I'm not mistaken. If I can just get some clarity on, we're taking money away, we're allocating money. Could we get some clarity there? And sorry if it's a stupid question, but like I say, new to the portfolio. Thank you.
Honorable Peterson.
Good morning, Chair. Sorry that I locked in late. Chair, I've only got 3 questions to the department. On page 6, in relation to the Water Services Amendment Bill, can you please explain the proposed water services reforms? Question 2, is the department expecting Parliament to finalize the amendments within the few months the 6th Parliament is left with before its term ends next year? And then question 3, on page 7, the department reports on the reconfiguration of the various water boards. What obstacles has the department faced or anticipates facing during the reconfiguration of these water boards? And what strategies or mitigation measures are in place to address those obstacles? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Zeke.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. Chair, let me also appreciate the presentation by the department, and also appreciate the interventions that the department is doing in different municipalities. I think we appreciate that, and we think that at the end of the day, people must be able to access water. And Chair, just a few questions that I want to raise to the department, Chair. I just want to get confirmation from the department if the service providers that have rendered the service in KZN and Eastern Cape, whether currently now, as I'm speaking, have they been paid or not? Because I heard the CFO was saying at some point